Good morning, Reformation Lutheran Church and School. This is Miss Jen reporting from the RLCS newsroom. We have breaking news of wild and wonderful animals from the ocean. From outer space, Earth looks like an awesome blue marble. That's because most of the Earth's surface, more than 70%, is covered by oceans. Oceans are areas of salty water that fill enormous basins on the Earth's surface. Even though the Earth has one continuous body of salt water, scientists and geographers divide it into 5 different sections. From biggest to smallest, they are the Pacific, the Atlantic, the Indian, the Antarctic, which is also sometimes called the Southern, and the Arctic Oceans. Oceans are deep as well as wide. On average, an ocean is a little over 2 miles deep, but about 200 miles southwest of Guam in the Pacific Ocean, the water in the Mariana Trench is almost 7 miles deep. That's the deepest part of the ocean. Oceans help keep Earth's climate habitable. By moving water around the globe, the oceans help to keep the places from getting too hot or too cold. Oceans also help keep the planet warm. In the same way that hot water in a bathtub stays warm longer than hot chocolate in a small cup, the vast amount of warm water stores heat in the ocean. Then ocean currents carry that heat around the planet. Without oceans, the Earth would be an icy rock. Scientists estimate that about 1 million species of animals live in the ocean, but most of them, 95%, are invertebrates. That means they're animals that don't have a backbone, such as jellyfish and shrimp. The most common vertebrate, so that's an animal with a backbone, on Earth is the bristlemouth, a tiny ocean fish that glows in the dark and has needle-like fangs. Ooh, make sure to remind me not to go near that one. Some of the smallest animals on Earth can be found in the ocean. Sea animals like zooplankton are so small that you can only see them with a microscope. Big fish swim through these waters too, such as great white sharks, manta rays, and ocean sunfish. The largest animal ever to live on Earth is an ocean mammal called the blue whale. It's as long as 2 school buses. Dolphins, porpoises, and sea lions are also ocean-dwelling mammals. Coral reefs are one type of habitat. When tiny animals called polyps die, their skeletons harden so other polyps can live on top of them. When these polyps die and more move in, after thousands of years, this becomes a complex structure called a coral reef that provides food and shelter for many kinds of ocean animals. In fact, coral reefs have been called the rainforest of the sea because of the wide variety of animals found there. Animals such as seahorses, clownfish, and sea turtles all live on coral reefs, and corals themselves are animals. They grab food from the water using tiny tentacle-like arms. Kelp forests found along the coastlines of the Pacific and Antarctic Oceans also provide food and shelter for marine life. These large, brown, rubbery plants have hollow, globe-shaped growths on the leaves called pneumatocysts that help the plants rise to the surface. Sea lions, whales, shorebirds, and other ocean animals make meals of the smaller critters that hide in the leaves. Other ocean habitats aren't actually in the ocean, such as estuaries. Estuaries are areas where rivers and oceans meet and have a mix of salt water and fresh water. Oysters, crabs, and many birds like great herons and egrets live in estuaries. Scientists estimate that we've only explored 5% of the ocean. Maybe you'll be the next person to discover a new species of fish or deeper underwater trench. That'd be kind of cool. The largest ocean is the Pacific Ocean, and it covers 1/3 of the Earth's surface. Well, that was some crazy information about the ocean, but I just got this news in. We've got our first guest in the studio. Let's check it out and say hello to our first guest. I think we all know what this guest is. It is a dolphin. And here's part of a pod of dolphins. Bottlenose dolphins are marine mammals that live in the tropical and temperate oceans. Those are oceans with mild temperatures around the world. They have a short, thick beak, as their name suggests, and a curved mouth, giving the appearance that they are always smiling. They are usually gray in color and measure around 6 to 13 feet long. Bottlenose dolphins travel in groups called pods of around 10 to 15 dolphins. In these groups, they play and hunt together as well as cooperate to raise young dolphin calves and help each other. Bottlenose dolphins are super swimmers, gliding through the water using their curved dorsal fin on their back and a powerful tail and pointed flippers. They can reach speeds of over 18 miles per hour and dive as deep as 800 feet below the surface. These cool creatures are awesome acrobats too, and can be seen flipping or breaching out of the water. In fact, they can launch themselves up to 16 feet in the air before crashing back down into the water with a splash. There are different theories as to why they do this. It could be to get a better view of things in the distance, clean parasites off their bodies, communicate with other pods, or just for good fun. Although they live underwater, the bottlenose dolphin must come up to the surface to breathe air. It breathes through what's called a blowhole, a hole on the top of its head. These clever creatures can open this hole when inhaling and exhaling out of the water and close it when below the ocean surface. They can hold their breath underwater for around 7 minutes. Bottlenose dolphins are kings of communication. They send each other messages in different ways. They squeak and whistle, and also use body language, leaping out of the water, snapping their jaws, and even butting heads. These magnificent mammals also produce high-pitched clicks to help them navigate and find food, a process called echolocation. When the clicking sounds hit an object in the water, such as a rock or fish, they bounce back to the dolphin as echoes. From this, the super swimmers can work out the location, size, and shape of the object. Cool, huh? Dolphins are carnivores. That means they like to eat meat. Mostly they'll eat fish, but they will also eat crustaceans such as shrimp and squid too. Wow! Who knew you could do all those amazing things? I sure don't want to compete in a dive competition with you. You'd surely win. It was great having you here, but it's time for our next guest. Our next guest is here. Let's say hello to our next guest. Do you have any idea what this is? This might look familiar to you. It is called a Moorish idol. And here's a close-up of one. The Moorish idol has a compressed disc-like body that has contrasting bands of black, white, and yellow. The bars of color on the body of the Moorish idol may serve as a disruptive coloration that breaks up the body outline and makes it harder for predators to tell where the fish begins and ends. Some researchers believe the long white dorsal fin, so that's the long white fin up top, may also serve to increase the fish's apparent size so that it looks larger to potential predators. The fish has relatively small fins, except for that dorsal fin, whose 6 or 7 spines are elongated to form a trailing sickle-shaped crest. It has a tubular-like snout with a small mouth that has numerous bristle-like teeth. Generally living in shallow waters, Moorish idols prefer flat reefs. The fish may be found at depths from 10 to 100 feet in both murky and clear conditions. Sponges, tunicates, and other benthic invertebrates are the main bulk of the Moorish idol's diet. They are diurnal fish. That means they like to be awake during the day and asleep at night. And they'll stick to the bottom of the reef at night and adopt a drab coloration. So at night, they're going to make sure their colors aren't so bright so they can blend in. They often swim in small schools in nature and also fight against each other in tight quarters. So they like having their own space. So we try not to keep them in a small tank, okay? They are omnivorous in nature. That means they like to eat both meat and plants. They eat coral polyps and sponges, and also tunicates and other small invertebrates like brine shrimp. They are very picky about their food, and that's why they're termed as kind of snobby. They prefer dieting on small and live foods such as brine shrimp, vegetable foods, and other things. Though they are bold grazers in nature, they are extremely shy about their eating, especially in the company of other fishes. They eat 2 to 3 times a day. The Moorish idol has a lifespan of only 2 to 4 years. In Hawaii, the Moorish idol is called the kihikihi, which means curves or zigzags, referring to its shape and color pattern, characters of stripes, and discoid bodies. The Moorish idol is generally a timid fish, although adult males can be hostile or territorial towards each other. In Finding Nemo, one of the fish in Nemo's tank, Gil, is a Moorish idol. Wow, that's where we might have known you from. Are you sure you're not related to our friend Gil? Oh, okay. Well, still learning all the cool things about you, and maybe you'll get to have a show of your own too. Thanks for stopping by. Just a minute, guys. Hey, where's the next guest? I have the notes. What do you mean they're not here? You can't do this to me. Let's make sure our guests are here for the next segment, please. I'm sorry, guys. Our next guest isn't here. But let me show you a close-up of what our guest was supposed to look like. You recognize this guest? I think some of you may have seen him before. That, my friends, was a clownfish. Now, the most famous clownfish is, you got it, Nemo from Finding Nemo. Clownfish species include yellow, orange, reddish, and blackish varieties, with most covered in patches or bars of white color. Clownfish are found in warm waters of the Indian and Pacific Oceans, including the Red Sea and the Great Barrier Reef of Australia. The largest clownfish can reach 18 centimeters, that's 17.1 inches, and the smallest would be 10 centimeters, so that's 3.9 inches. All clownfish are born as males. When the dominant female of a group dies, the largest male will turn itself into a female. This change cannot be reversed back. Clownfish live up to 10 years in the wild, but on average up to 6 to 8 years. They only live about 2 to 5 years though in aquariums. Females lay around 1,000 eggs, and the male clownfish will guard the eggs. Clownfish are not very good swimmers. They spend a lot of time hiding in the water. When they come out of hiding, their swimming is unpredictable. They even swim sideways or bounce up and down. Sometimes they swim very quickly for a short period of time. Clownfish have a symbiotic. That means a long-term mutual benefit. That means both people in this relationship are going to get some good things out of it. With a sea anemone, which is a fish-eating plant-like animal that has poisonous tentacles. The sea anemones benefit from clownfish who clean them by eating its parasites and dead tentacles, help circulate the water around them, attract potential prey with their bright colors, and provide nutrients from their droppings. The clownfish in return benefit from sea anemone who provide food scraps and whose venomous tentacles protect the clownfish from any attack by other fish. The clownfish builds up an immunity to sea anemone's deadly sting over time and because of a layer of mucus on the clownfish's skin. I'm so sorry we weren't able to have Nemo or any of his relatives in the studio, but I promise I'm going to make sure that my producer and everyone on my staff has all the guests for the next segment, okay? Well, that's all from this segment. Coming up, more wild and wonderful animals from the ocean. This is Miss Jen reporting from the RLCS Newsroom. May God bless you and your family.